everyone, this is Alma coming to you from Huntington Beach, California. Today is Saturday, July 1st of the year 2023, and this is my mid-year WIP parade. If you've been with me for the last few years, you know that I like to do these twice a year, this time of year, middle of the year, and then at the end of the year, to kind of wrap up, summarize what I've been up to in between. It's a good way for me to see where my focuses are at and which WIPs should be touched more or worked on more. So if this is your first time visiting, then welcome. I think this is a good place to start because you'll see everything that I have going on. And if you are a returning viewer, then I'll welcome as always, and thank you very much for your support. I do have quite a bit to show you guys. These videos tend to be about 45-50 minutes each part. I usually like to split them into two. So we do have quite a bit to go. As you can see, I have all my WIPs behind me. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I have even though the camera's here, I've got the screen here so that I can see what it is that I'm showing you. So if I do that, I apologize. For whatever reason, I just can't bring myself to look at the camera over there. Regardless, I'm all ready to start showing you guys stuff. I think I'll just keep taking things out of the cubicles. Hopefully it's all in order. I do have my notes here, so without further ado, let's get to the stitching, shall we? And I hope I don't topple things over like I did when I was showing or filming my videos in Spanish. So this is going to be pile 1. Just set that there. And my oldest WIP that I have so far is a pattern by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is Mini 1. The artist is Cindy Nielsen. And I started this on August 30th of 2018. I'm just gonna put this back here, I think. I got this as a kit from Haid. Never doing that again, but you live and learn. This was the first full coverage that I started from them, so I thought this would be the easiest way to go. I haven't stitched on her too much. I set a goal for myself to stitch 500 stitches on all my WIPs this year, so I did the 500 for her, and then I just I moved on to the next thing. I will pick her up this month though, because I did want to stitch on my oldest WIP. So far I'm at 29,307 stitches, so I think it's like 40% or something like that if I remember correctly. So yeah, I'm still working on the sea. I'm still working on the dark tones of the ocean here. I actually did start working on her hair. I was going to leave her as like the last thing to stitch, so I was gonna stitch everything around her. But I kind of like let go of that one and just decided to just stitch everything, and so I can just move down and call it a day. And this is the 18 count Easy Guide Ada that I got for her. Put that there. Next project is one that I got from Etsy. This is another one of my full coverages-ish patterns. You'll see lots of those if you're new. This is Sleeping Beauty from Stitch Fairy Treasures. I started this on January 6th, 2019, and I am using 18 count white Ada. This is going to be, maybe I'll just put it on the ground, might be easier. But this is where we're at so far. Sorry for the crinkling. I tried, I set these out so that they wouldn't be all folded up and wrinkled, but here we are. I mean, as I was filming my video in Spanish, I was folding them up into the cubicles, so go figure. Anyway, right now I am at 77% on this one. I did finish up because I think last time I showed the last WIP parade, I had just started stitching on like her face. I think I had like her eye and like the kind of starting the cheek. So I did finish that page of the pattern. I recently found out, I think the last, at the time of my last WIP parade, I had just found out that this was Pattern Keeper compatible. So that kind of, you know, it was very much a game changer. I wasn't restricted to just looking at each page. I could see everything else. So yeah, so I did kind of sort of start the next page over here. And down here as well. Kind of went going for her dress. So that's this one. I may pick her back up again this year because she's relatively close to being finished. Again, 77% is pretty good as far as WIPs go. So I may pick her back up to get more done on her. But next up is my Lilac Evening Realist kit. This was a present from my twin, and I started this on February 1st, 2019. I did decide to just use all the materials that came along with the kit. Sorry, itchy nose. FlossTube itchy nose. And since the last time that I showed it to you, I have finished it. I finished this on February 8th, 2023. So it took me a second, but she's finally done. The last time I showed her, I was just stitching her blouse. I think I was like somewhere up here. So since then I did all of this, and I added all the beads, you know, her entire hat, and the lace, I guess. The lace for her hat is all beaded, and of course the hat has all the ribbons as well. Those were a pain in the butt to make. As I was going through them, I was like, never again. And at one point I just stopped following the pattern exactly. I couldn't deal. So I just went freehand. I added more of the larger beads to replace the flowers, because that was the other thing. It was like a lot of flowers, but there wasn't that much space, so they were all like getting all, you know, it was a lot. There was a lot going on, and you couldn't even like appreciate the flowers because they were just so squished together. So I decided to do less flowers so you can actually appreciate them, and just add more beads to make up for the space. So I will put that somewhere where it's not going to get folded. I'll just put it back here. I think that'll do for now. So yeah, I did do that on the 14 count beige Ada that came with the kit. Next up is another pattern from Etsy. This is Watercolor Floral. Etsy shop is Stitcher Stitch. Last time I checked, this was still available, but I don't know. I feel like I should do a disclaimer with these. Like, I'm not constantly checking these Etsy shops to see if their patterns are still available. And sometimes I will get somebody saying, "Hey, this shop is no longer open." It's like, there's only so much I can do. Anyway, this is where we're at so far with this one. I did pick this up this year. You'll notice a pattern. All of my older pieces are getting a lot of work done, so the further we go into this parade, the more you'll be like, or I'll be like, no change. This is still the same way. So sorry in advance. But last time I showed it to you, I had just started on like a dark gold here. So I started on that leaf, started on that page. I finished that page since then, and the next page I do will be on this side, so I can complete the entire top half. And I apologize if you can hear my neighbor's dogs barking. They're little devils. I don't It's just sometimes it sounds like they're right in my ear. They growl really weird too. So there's only so much I can do though. They're not my dogs. Okay. Next up, I've got. Oh, and I started that on May 1st. Forgot to say that. I started on May 1st, 2019. Next up is one of my hates, one of my many hates. This is Moon Charmer from Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Amy Stewart, and she is one of my focuses this year. She is, I'm just putting these all over the place, it's fine. She's getting constant work. Last time I showed her to you, I was at 59,313 stitches, which is about 24%. I'm gonna have to scoot back for this one. And I'm at 71,367 stitches. I've done about 12,000 stitches on her so far. That puts me in at 28.9%. 29%, if you would like. What am I showing you? So this is where we're at so far. And I've done all of that at the bottom. So that's been the focus mostly. Last time I showed her to you, since the last time I showed her to you, I just filled in, just gonna fold this right here. I filled in the tree. There was just, you know, I had done like the two or three major colors, like a black and dark green, I think like a dark blue. So I just filled in everything else that was left in it. And obviously I also added some grass down here, and the main difference is I started on her hair, or the black of her hair, yes, just the shadow of her hair. But yeah, again, lots of progress on her, because she's a big one, she's a big girl, so I need lots of progress in order to finish her. But I'm happy to be where I'm at. I think originally I said I wanted to be at 33% by the end of the year, so I think I'm in a good place for that to happen. And I'm doing her on 18 count white data. That's going to be the default for a lot of these pieces. It's either the 18 count data or the 25 count easy guide. Next up is a kit from ZannaCrossS. This is Wonder Woman Warrior Princess. The artwork is by Daniel Kordek. Words are hard. And I started her on November 1st, 2019. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I haven't stitched on her too much. I just added the 500 stitches that I said I would. Oh, actually backwards. I did do a little bit more on this one. It's the next one. My bad. Read the wrong line. I added 1,300 stitches on her. This is where we're at. It just doesn't show too much. All I did was just finish up some of the gray colors that were up here. Not the Wonder Woman matching needle minder. But yeah, I added 1,300 stitches. I'm now at 21,000 stitches, thereabouts. Which is 17.2%. So there it is. She is, yeah, she's going to be stitched on soon too. I have all these plans, and again, this WIP parade is like the worst, because I feel like, oh, I should stitch on this, I should stitch on that, and it's just like all these plans that contradict each other. Anyway, after that, shortly after that, I started another ZannaCrossS chart designed by, or artwork by Daniel Kordek. This is Esmeralda. From what I understand, she's no longer available on the website, but I did want to start her because Hunchback of Notre Dame is my favorite, all-time favorite Disney Disney movie. I love Esmeralda. I just had to get it. I had to do it. And she's the one that only got 500 stitches though. I kept going on the yellow, the yellows and golds in the center. So yeah, not too much progress to show on her. Okay, she's at 17,631 stitches, which is about 13.86%. And yeah, I did also want to stitch on pieces like as their birthdays came along, so I kind of stopped doing that like a month ago, but I may pick that up because I did like, again, that's another way of making sure that everything gets stitched on at least once. So next up is another. These were all started back to back too. This is Snow Girl. Again, Chilton Press chart artwork by Daniel Kordek. And sorry, I've got the fan going, so it's doing funny things. Anyway, I started this on November 23rd, 2019, and she got 1,000 stitches. She got 1,000 stitches. This is where we're at so far. The 1,000 stitches were just pretty much on this little area right here. Not too much to show for it, but that's full coverage for you. Again, 18 count data, as per usual. She I think she was like the first chart that I bought, but I started the others before I started her. Next up is Hade chart. This is June from Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Anna Dittman. Focus. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll have to play with the camera later on because some of my I don't have some of my cover photos, so I'll have to show that on my phone. So hopefully the camera will cooperate. Anyway, this one has not gotten any progress. I'm still at 3.9% of this piece. It's massive. It's just all the fabric, every fabric. And I'm pretty sure it's this way. This is where we're at so far. So the rose actually starts like over here. And I can't see what I'm showing you. But yeah, this is one of the larger pieces that I have. So I know that I have to work on her. I started her on the 26th of November, 2019. Next up is a pattern that I got off of Etsy. This is the Disney Villain Ladies, as I like to call them. I don't think the pattern had an official name. The Etsy shop is ZannaCrossS. And I started this one on January 17th, 2020. So we've jumped to the new year. The pattern came split up into 4 different pieces, but I am stitching it as the cover photo showed. So this is where we're at. Since the last time that I showed them to you, I finished Ursula's hair. So like all those highlights and details that are hidden in the hair have been finished up. I stitched most of her face. I think there's like 1 or 2 colors that I still have to do, and I did start on her lips and her eyes as well. All things considered, I stitched about 2,000 stitches. Looks like I am at 21,990 stitches. which is about 35% of the, again, just if we consider this like an entire piece by itself, as opposed to like individual pieces. I am at 35% of the entire piece. Next up is a chart from Mystic Stitch Incorporated. This company has since gone out of business. I think they had to close down because of the pandemic. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure when they had to shut down, but I just know that the website's no longer available. Anyway, this is Change of Seasons 2. I started this with Zagia for Lady Wing Designs. We both started this on February 29th of the year 2020. Oh gosh. And we had hopes, we had plans to finish this within 8 years, right? So not like 1 leap year, but 2 leap years. And I did stitch on this though recently. I am at 27,000 stitches. So since the last time I showed it to you, I added 3,400 stitches. So this is where we were at last video. I am stitching this on whatever season we're on. So since I stitched this during spring, I ended up starting the spring. I'll just fold this in half so I can see what I'm showing you better. But I did start the spring section. So since we're now in summer, I do want to pick this up again, so I'll go ahead and stitch on it this summer so I can add the last part of this design. I am currently at 14.3%, so it's a pretty massive stitch, which is why I don't think I mean, as much as it kills me that we allowed for 8 years, and I'm saying that 8 years is not going to be enough to finish this piece. Like it's not going to be enough to finish this piece. But such is life. I just get pulled in all sorts of directions. Next up is a pattern from Yanni Stitcher from here on FlossTube. This is her Katrina. I started this on May 14th, 2020, and I am doing something different with it. I'm stitching it closer to what the model asked for as opposed to the pattern. So the model looks like it's stitched on like a cream colored fabric, or at least to me it looks like it's stitched on a cream colored fabric, and then you have the face paint added like separately or in addition to. The pattern is actually charted to be stitched on white. So I'm just going off of what the models, because I like that idea better. So here we are. There hasn't been any change since the last time I showed it to you, but I am picking up this piece this month. It's a funny story. I bring my stitching into work to stitch on in case I work at a tutoring center, so there's no students that are coming in for help. Then I have to keep myself busy. Right now in the summer I don't have any homework, so I've been bringing in my stitching. And one of my co-workers saw me working on like one piece, one project one day, and then a second project another day. So she goes, "Oh, did you finish the project you were working on?" I said, "No, I just got bored of it." So I would just, I just kind of talked to her a little bit about like my progress. I told her about how many, projects I had on the go. So she says, "You should finish one. I think you should finish one." And then she just, out of nowhere, she says, "July 27th, I want you to bring me a finished project." And this isn't, it wasn't like being pushy or anything. This is just like fun, friendly conversation. And I said, "You're on." And I told her next week, so like this coming Monday, because this just happened this week. So this coming Monday, I told her I'm gonna bring you the project that I'm going to finish, so that we have like the starting point, and then we can get to a finished piece. So you don't see any you don't see any progress now, but stick around, because you will see a finished piece by the end of the month, or well, I guess by the next WIP parade you'll see a finished piece. So yeah, so that's that. And this is just like random 14 count Ada that I had, and I'm also I'm not sticking 100% to the colors that she charted for like the paper mache flags. I'm just going off of whatever I want. D-stash, I guess is what people call it, right? Okay, so that's that. Sorry about the side rant. Back to the stitching. Next up, I have my Dimensions kit. This is Mason jar lineup from Dimensions. I started this on May 22nd, 2020. Very popular piece. A lot of people started stitching. Like, a lot of people were stitching that. I remember it was very hard to find for a while. And this is where we're at. I don't think there's been much change since the last time I showed it to you. The lighting isn't doing too many favors. Focused, yeah. I mean, it's white flowers too, so there's that. White on white doesn't work. I may have added like 50 or 100 stitches to this since the last time I showed it to you, but not much else. But this may also get some work done this month. I'm sure. Again, like this is what happens every single WIP parade. Every single WIP parade. And I am using everything that came with the kit, including the 14 count Ada that came with the kit. And the next thing I need to show you on my phone, because I don't have the cover photo for this. This is my ink circles piece, Relentless. Let's see if my camera is going to come. There we go. Yay! Good job, camera. All right, this is Relentless from Ink Circles. I started this on June 2nd of 2020 for Pride Month. And since the last time I showed it to you, I did add some stitches. I went from 2,800 stitches to 5,080 stitches. I was gonna be like, is this the right way up? It doesn't matter. It's an Ink Circles piece. Anyway, I am now at 38.41%. Finished all the black finally. Yeah. Just black alone is over a third of the piece. But I do want to stitch on this color by color still, so hopefully you'll see more improvement on this next time. I am stitching this on a Silk Weaver 18 count Ada that I had just randomly. I don't even know where I got it from, but you can't even tell. It's got like very faint yellow tones to it. So that's that. I think I have one more Ink Circles pattern that I wanted to stitch. I'll just shove this in here tight. Yeah, I feel like I have one more. I feel like it was a Halloween pattern. Anyway, next up is another one of my Hades. This is Mini Soaring Free 2. This is a pattern by Joan Marie. The artist is Joan Marie. And I started this on June 13th, 2020. And this is one of the first ones that I ever did on 25 count. Easy guide. I was anticipating, like, I bought the fabric for one of my larger pieces, and this was like leftover fabric. So this is where we're at so far. There hasn't been any change. Man, the lighting is just, oof, okay. There hasn't been any change since the last time I showed this to you. I'm still at 2,585 stitches, which is 3.67%. Okay, looks like that's the last of that first cubby. Onto the next cubby. I'll just put these on my lap. I think that should work. Stay. Just stay. Okay. Next up is another one of my Hades. This is the companion piece to June. This is July. From Hades Designs. Artwork is by Anna Dittman. And those two are like one of the reasons why I knew I had to go to 25 count and not stick to 18 count, even though 18 count was like my comfort zone at that point. I've never done 25 count because these pieces are just absolutely massive. Yeah, I was for a second I was like, did I show June? It's all a blur. Anyway, for one reason or another, I decided to start this on the top right corner. I'm not sure why, but there we go. Again, just massive piece of fabric. There we go. This is where we're at so far. I haven't picked this up since the last time I showed it to you. I'm still at 1.88%, just, is it 44 or 4,900 stitches? Not sure. Apparently I can't read my own handwriting. Oh yeah, they're really big. It's all that fabric just for one WIP. So yeah, I was like, I need to change. I need to do something, because I wanted to start a lot of things, and they were all just as big, if not bigger. So I said, anyway, that was started on June 24th, 2020, and then on July 1st, 2020, so today is its birthday, I started this one. Again, also very large piece. This is Tea. Artwork is by Anna Dittman. And in case you're not familiar, this is Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock for the Sherlock BBC series that aired some years ago. One of my favorite shows of all time. Thoroughly enjoyed that series. Well, the first half more than the second half, but really enjoyed it. This is what we're at so far. There hasn't been any change since the last time I showed it to you. I made stitch on him though for its birthday. I'm still at 2,200 stitches, which is 1.4%. Fun stuff. It's really just the corner. This is where the face of the watch is going to be. So this is like the wristband, and this is the face. So, and then the hand, or the shading for the hand, is going to start down here. So yeah. Again, big piece, lots of fabric for it. Tiny start, relatively tiny start. But you know, it is what it is. Next up is another one of my July starts. For my birthday, I decided to start this for myself. This is focus. This is Portrait of Veronica from Europelia, designed by Nora Corbett. And this one is my one of my focus pieces for this year. If you were around last year, you'll remember that I took one WIP and I split it up into 12 different sections so that I would stitch one part a month, and then by the end of the year I'll have at least one finished WIP. So me and my friends decided to do that again this year, And this is the WIP that I chose to finish. It's the first fancy lady that I started, and I just wanted to make sure that I finished her because I started more at the end of the year last year, and I was like, if I started more, I should at least finish one. So this is where we're at so far. She's doing great. I think the last time I showed it to you at the beginning or at the end of the year, I had finished the bow, and I think I had this strip done, and I feel like I was also starting on these colors over here. So as you can see, she's come quite a long way. I am completely done with her dress except for the beading. And I also kind of messed up. I didn't split her up evenly. Some of the sections that that I divided her into were absolutely massive. Like that dress is just absolutely massive. I didn't know. I didn't realize how much stitching was involved. So on one hand, I did catch up. I kind of fell behind in the middle of the semester there because of school. But I think I had like 2, maybe 3 months behind. But as soon as summer started, I just sat down and just worked on her nonstop until I caught up. So now that it's July 1st, I can stitch on the July section, and they are smaller sections. I mean, I really don't have much to go. I've got her, her skin, the bench that she's sitting on, and the beading. That's it. Well, I mean her face, but yeah, I do hope to be able to stick to it and keep up. And I am stitching this on a I keep forgetting to mention those details every time. 32 count Lugana. This was hand dyed by a company called Youthful Hands Sunny Dyes. The fabric color name is called Fairy Meadow fabric. So I'll show that again to you. Fairy Meadow. The company has since gone out of business though. Unfortunately, they're no longer dyeing fabric, but I was able to get this piece before they shut down. I just thought it was perfect. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, please. I had another fabric in mind, but it had like the cover photo had like pinks and blues, and I remember when I got it, it just looked like the Sleeping Beauty dress when the fairies are like fighting back and forth on what color to make the dress. And then like at one point they do it at the same time and it just splashes. Like that's what it looked like. So it's like, no thank you. Anyway, so I started that for myself for my birthday. But then if you guys know, I have a twin sister, and I started this for her. So this was also started on July 13th, 2020. And this is The Eternal Promise. Artwork is by Matt Stewart from Hade. And this really is one of my focus pieces for the year. Stay. This is being stitched on 25 count Easy Grid Lugana. And the last time I showed her to you, I was at 36,413 stitches. I am now at 49,651 stitches. I've stitched so far 13,238. I went from 28.23% to 11.22. My goal this year was to reach 10%, so I've already reached that much at least. And this is where we're at so far. I'm still stitching the background first, like the forest and such. I'm going a color at a time on this, so I'll stitch on like one color and covering all the pages that I have so far. So like I'll stitch this page one color, stitch this page, and kind of just go down here. Once I hit this spot, I'll start another color and like work my way back up here, and I'll just do that back and forth, back and forth. I did add a little bit of the border here just because I got bored of all the browns and grays. But yeah, most of the stitches has been done on the background. You can now see the silhouette, which is kind of exciting. Here's Arwen, here's Aragorn. So, yay! Something's coming along. I had originally told myself I was going to do like 4,500 stitches on it a month. It's no. I kind of just did away with all those monthly goals because school just made it literally impossible. So I just stitch what I can now, and that's just the way that's going to be for the rest of my school career. A couple more years. Anyway, a few days after that, I started my first sampler. This is 3 Things sampler from Moira Blackburn. I started this in honor of my friend's birthday, Laurel Ann here on FlossTube. She was stitching on this and I saw it and I knew I had to stitch it as well. It's absolutely beautiful. The message says, 3 things there are that will never come back. The arrow shot forth on its destined track, the appointed hour that could not wait, and the helpful word that was spoken too late. So I picked it up and started it on July 16th, 2020. And then this is, oh, I folded this backwards, haha, right. This is where we're at so far. I am chugging along on the alphabet. I think the last time I showed it to you, I was at the H or the I. And then I also finished up the flower pots at the center, and I've kept going with the outside or this upper border too. So slowly but surely, this is a good this is a good piece to work on like when I'm watching TV, because it's 14 count Ada. This is dyed by Fiona's Craft Cottage. It's called Cappuccino Froth. And the colors are nice and bright, so it's easy to see and easy to count if I need to count my stitches. So I originally told myself that I wanted to go ahead and finish that entire section until I hit this side. So I feel like I can still do it. If this is the halfway mark of the year, I think I should be able to take care of that. That's that. The same day, I started this pattern from Tilton Crafts. This was gifted to me from Candace, Slut Lover Stitches. She used to be here on FlossTube. I think she's since stopped making videos. Pretty sure she's still on Instagram, but she gifted me this for my birthday, and then she started it herself. This is Till Death Do Us Part. Artwork is by Daniel Kordek, inspired by the Tim Burton movie Corpse Bride. And I don't think my camera is going to want to focus on this one. So yeah, just let it go. Let that one go. This one hasn't seen any progress since the last time I showed it to you. I'm still at 13,758 stitches, which is, this is what we're at so far. And yeah, I started working on this a lot, like for the black background. So if I needed some nice quick stitching, I would just work on the black. Yeah, stitched an 18 count white Ada, it's pretty usual. My go-to pretty much for these. And then on a similar note, a few days later, on July 17th, a few days, literally the next day, I started another one of my children craft pieces. This is Fractal Energy. Artwork is by Nathan Smith, or photography, I guess. Oh, there we go. That kind of focused. And again, working this on 18 count data, but no change either. I haven't been able to stitch on this, but again, it was a very easy piece to go to work on the solid black that you have up there. And then the blues, you can kind of tell, you know, they get lighter as you get towards the center. So yeah, pretty piece. I'll be happy to get to the centerpiece. I think it was Tess from Test Stitches that suggested doing it, but just stick to the centerpiece, to the center gem. I was like, that would have probably been a good idea, but oh well. I'm committed now, I guess. So that's that. And then the next piece that I started is another Chilton Crafts. All the Chilton Crafts. This is Cinderella 2015. Artwork is by Daniel Kordick, and it's inspired by the live action Cinderella that came out that year, hence the name 2015. That's has been my favorite live action remake so far. I haven't seen The Little Mermaid though, so that may change. Anyway, this hasn't seen any progress since the last time I showed it to you. I'm still at 4,022 stitches, which is 3.63%. Oh, and for Fractal Energy, I'm still at 12,389 stitches. I forgot to mention that. I didn't mention any stitch counts. So Till Death is still at 10%. I have my notes and then I just don't look at them. I just, you know, go off script and just do whatever I want. I'm trying to fold this. There we go. That's gonna bite me later when I'm looking back on these, because I always look back on these videos to get my stitch count so I can write notes for like the next WIP parade. Anyway, that's it for this one. All blues, blue backgrounds, super fun, very exciting. We are I think I'm actually considering I'm already reaching coming up at 50 minutes. I am going to stop this right now. I apologize if you hear the dogs barking. My neighbors' devil dogs that are just always barking. Sometimes it feels like they're right up in my ear. I hope they're not coming through too much, but I'm not recording this again. Plus I don't know when they're gonna stop barking. Anyway, on that note, so I'll go ahead and see you in part 2. I'll just hit stop and then continue recording. As always, I'll put the information for the WIPs down below. I'll put everything all at once, so for both part 1 and part 2, I'm not gonna look to see how it's split. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll see you in a bit.